A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the wonderful OBBM network, who is just blowing us up all over radios, all your streaming networks, and now Roku TV. So I want to thank OBBM network for really getting us out there and supporting our cause with the mental health for our first responders. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Doing great today, John. One of our partners, Garland PD, in the news today, or actually, I think it's the Firefighters Association shared this, my bad, about an amazing rescue with, John, a product that you have been like pushing and talking about on the market for years. I remember when I was a guest on your radio show a long time ago now.
Yeah, over 5 years and over 1,000+ lives saved around the world. LifeVac, Arthur Lee, God bless him, man. He's just a dad. And if we take a couple of minutes, I'll give a quick story, and I gave this story when I was promoting it back then, and I'll promote it today. He was just a dad. He was in the hospital. He saw a mom who lost her child to choking, and it impacted him. So what does every man do when they're feeling stressed and they want to fix problems? They go to Home Depot, right? And they go look around, and he found a plunger, and he said, "I bet you I can do this, make this plunger an anti-choking device." And what he did was he put a one-way valve on it so that when you press down, the air expels, and when it puts a lot of suction into the onto the mouth, and when you pull up, it has enough force to expel any of those objects that are stuck in your throat. And they did test after test after test. I think, and out of 100 cadavers, they tried this with like sausages and meatballs and a whole bunch of stuff in their throats. 99 of them were be able to pull out on just 3 pumps. It's push, place, push, pull. That's as simple as it is. It's so easy. It's so easy. My kids have it in their cars at home, and Garland Police Department, now it's here in Texas. I know Steve had talked to some representatives over LifeVac for CPR.
Yep, Rockwell CPR, one of the sponsors of our show. They got LifeVac, and it's part of certification to show how it works.
It's a very inexpensive, life-saving tool. It's the best present you can give that you hope that nobody ever has to unwrap. And, anybody can use it. It's good on elderly, obese, special needs, wheelchair-bound patients. This works in an upright position, laying down, standing up, whatever position it works on. Go to lifevac.com. Arthur Lee, God bless you. So many lives have been saved because of your ingenuity and your focus and your constant persistence to get this out there to save lives. And man, he is doing a wonderful job. Garland Police Officer, big shout out to Jason Wright, Dalton Schroeder.
You found the post?
Your names, yeah. Jason Wright awesome. And Dalton Schroeder responded to a 4-year-old choking. They attempted the back blows. Like they're taught in CPR, the back blows, those back blows don't always work. This is another option. So they grabbed the LifeVac out of their car, and within 3 pulls expelled the enlargement, the object that was in the boy's throat, and saved his life. Man, it gives me chills to know that a little boy's life was saved by such an easy to use tool. It's lifevac.net, I think. Lifevac.net. Go to man, it's a present that you need to put under every Christmas tree, every birthday, every baby shower. Every parent should have one. But man, thank you, Arthur Lee.
Well, you're mentioning all these occasions in somebody's life, and when we're talking about first responders and our lives, not everything always goes great. We have our great moments, and it's what happens in the bad moments or the frustrating moments or the tragic moments where sometimes we need assistance beyond just mental health assistance, from groceries and things like that, house payment, mortgage payments. And our guest tonight is the founder of a foundation called Primum Non Nocere. Now,
I love it. I love it.
Yes, you may know that Latin phrase. It's become very popular these last bunch of years. First, do no harm. So that's what it stands for. And Louis Cazzetta is the founder. We're going to bring him on and we're going to talk about this. So, Louis, thank you so much for being on the podcast tonight.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for I heard you practice that.
I did. Yeah. I went to how to pronounce on YouTube.
Louis, I would have butchered that from here. You would have been yelling at me, throwing meatball sandwiches at me from all the way over there, man. You would have been. I would have butchered that.
Well, you did more than we did when we were like, oh, this looks like a great saying, and I'll actually explain how that came about later on. But it's Primum Non Nocere Foundation. First, do no harm.
Yes, wow, and please tell everybody watching and listening a little bit about you, your background, and how you decided to start this foundation.
Oh, okay. So first, I want to say thank you. Before anything else, I want to say thank you to both of you. I know I sent you an email. We talked back and forth on Messenger and Facebook, and you gave me an opportunity to bring this to the forefront. And so before anything else, thank you to both of you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, John. So back I started EMS in, John, I think you might be a little familiar, in Brooklyn South, back in New York City, started in 1988. Probably, started with the volunteers and Bensonhurst Volunteer Ambulance and Bravo Volunteer Ambulance. And we moved on and was in the 911 system for many years. And honestly, what happened was we just started noticing more and more that the EMS community was very much separate from everybody else. Okay. So, and what do I mean by that is we kind of, and it was always thought about like this, and it just became more out in the open that we were.
I'm going to use a term real quick, Louis.
Yeah.
You're going to probably get mad at me for, because I know where you're going. Ambulance driver.
Stepchild to the police and the fire department.
You're just an ambulance driver. Oh, okay.
Exactly. Especially when it came about with certain things. So over time, I used to do myself and a couple of other people. I had a DJ company. I was always involved in a lot of stuff, and I'll explain on how blessed I am to have a wife that I do that puts up with all my crazy stuff. But besides that, we always did all these things, and when something happened to someone in our field, well, there was no one there to help them. There was no benevolent society. There's no special organization. There was nothing. There was no safety net.
No fraternities.
No, there was only us. So we used to have, once again, from a New York City perspective, 1013 was the meaning between officer in trouble or someone in trouble. Of course, around the country, the 10 codes are different, but the similarity is basically when someone is in trouble, everybody goes. So we used to have parties. So I'll never forget Knights of Columbus on 86th Street, 13th Avenue in Brooklyn. And we used to have some huge parties. and raise a lot of money. And back then, maybe $5,000, $6,000, and hand the person the money at the end. That was it. And that was it. And there was nothing else. So we did something, but there was nothing there. And then health, then I started noticing, and I was always into charity. I was always into community service. I've been involved in Kiwanis and community service for all my life. I mean, it stems back to high school days. And I just started thinking about, so what are we doing for our own? And September 11th hit. And really at that point, that wasn't a big issue. I mean, the issue itself, September 11th, was catastrophic, but it didn't affect us until later. And then Superstorm Sandy hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that affected a lot of people, especially on Staten Island and different places, and a lot of EMS providers that were affected by that. And once again, there was nothing. So that really triggered me. I would never forget. I sat in the front of my ambulance one day and I just said, I have to do something, because if not I, then who? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I made a couple of. I'll never forget this. I asked my wife. I said, and I said, I want to start a foundation. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I just want to do this. And the trooper she is, she's like, okay. And then I contacted 5 or 6 others of my good friends, very close, Ted Rawley, Brian Collins, Nick Portera, Keith, Linda Reisman. These are I had a lawyer friend that was very, very close with me and still is to this day from Kiwanis, Sean. And I said, guys, I want to do this thing. I need your help. And I don't know why, but they all said, okay, let's do this. They believed in me and they believed in the purpose. And we started something. And I was speaking with Ted one day, and I asked Ted, I said, we have to name. We need. Let's start from talking grassroots. This is what are we going to name it? And he looked to his left, and he saw his jacket that he received when he became a paramedic, and it said Primum Non Nocere Foundation. So he just said, "What about that? First, do no harm." And well, there's a name. And within a few months, we my friend Sean, he said he started looking into the legal aspects and getting a 501c3 and everything set up. And he was funny because he never really did any. He's a real estate lawyer, so he really had no clue what to do with this. But we figured it all out. And 2016, I think it was almost January 1st, we became official, and we started. The whole idea, the mission statement is to assist emergency medical providers in need.
Well, that's fantastic. And when we come back from our first break here, we're going to talk about how exactly you guys do this with the foundation. Guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam and Louis Cazzetta. Like Cazzetta Stone. Louis Cazzetta. You know, before we took a break, you know, Louis was giving us a little background on EMS. And back in 1988, and I got onto New York City EMS back in 1987, before I rolled over to the PD, there was no support for us. Volunteers, hospitals, or even the city contracted EMS workers. We were run by a local, and I think it was the barbershop local or whatever it was, or the hairdressers local, 2507, whatever it was. And they really gave no support. They never, EMS who these men and women saw the worst of the worst throughout the city. They went into the projects by themselves. They treated the gunshot victim, the cardiac arrest victims, the motor vehicle accidents, the fire, the burn victims. They treated these people day in and day out with no mental health support. They got hurt on a car. They got hurt on a job. They were hit by cars. They fell downstairs. They were attacked by perpetrators. But they were never taken care of. There was never a foundation or an organization or a fraternity to really step up and say, hey, here's some money to get through. And then Louis turned around and said, we have to put an end to this. And Louis, thank you so much for coming up with this organization, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce.
I got your partner, Primum Non Nocere.
This is something our EMS needs more than ever. And thank you.
I appreciate that. And it's so true. Really, even today, okay, we're almost 10 years, believe it or not, in 2026, it'll be 10 years that we started this, but from 1988 through, there's still nothing. I ask anybody, Google it. Go look for an EMS foundation. They are local, and let me tell you something. This is not a general statement. There are some fabulous EMS agencies across the country that take care of their own. Okay, and I'll be very proud to say that we actually activated a very large EMS agency to activate their own because we were helping some of theirs. And since it's the largest in the country, they really felt that it should be something. And that I'm proud of that because they're doing something.
That's good.
And do you mean like in terms of like peer support or all around support? Because you guys do. Okay, you guys have the peer support. Yeah, let's talk about that, of what exactly you guys do, whether it's an injury or somebody reaches out, is like, hey, I've just had a lot of years of some bad calls and I need some help.
Oh, I'm interested. I'd really like to talk to you more about that later on, but here's where we started. So what we initially did, and literally I brought up some information. I started keeping statistics on everything. In 2016, we assisted 5 people. 5 people. And what we all got together, we all spoke about this, and the idea, it's solely for emergency medical providers. It doesn't matter if they're a volunteer, it doesn't matter where they are, but it has to be EMS provider. And because there was nothing else for specific. So what we tried it, and we also said, well, we're not going to give the GoFundMe accounts. We're not going to give, we're not giving cash out. We're not doing, things like that. We wanted to really keep it very close to us. And so we not only know exactly where the money's going, but the idea is how do we help the individuals that are sick or ill or injured or whatever else is going on in their lives, get something off their shoulders that they could we're assisting them to get better, to get back to work, to get to the next step. So what we really did was we're grassroots. I started with $250 out of my pocket, put it into a bank account, created a bank account. My friend Sean, he actually didn't even charge us for the legal fees and stuff. So, and when we started this whole thing, we started shopping.
Oh, okay. At the grocery store. Yeah.
And we physically, myself and my friend Keith and a couple of other people, there was somebody that gave us information on someone saying this person really needs help. And so we call them. I would speak with them, and I do to this day. I speak to each individual and vet them in a way, make sure they're okay. We don't ask many questions. I want to make sure you're an EMT and a paramedic or something. Even if you're retired, we'll actually help you a little bit too with that. But the main thing is, are you an EMS professional, and what do you need? And we try to work with groceries, food, utilities, necessities.
Yeah.
Necessities. What is going to help you move forward? What is going to help you and your family get through this thing?
Mhm.
You know, we're a small foundation. When we don't have Stilla money. We don't have that type of where we could say, let's pay your mortgage. Or one day, I hope we will. But right now, we're saying, what can we do to take the load off your shoulders? Take the burden off your shoulders of taking care of your family for these things, the necessities in life, the electric bill, the gas bill, food. We used to go and we actually took people shopping. There were people that were right next, and we keep them anonymous. Everybody's anonymous unless they publicly come out and tell people themselves. Everybody's anonymous. It's a New York EMT. Oh boy, that's a whole bunch of them, right? So a New York EMT, we helped them. We would take them out. We would actually go physically sometimes when we're able to, and take them shopping. Say, what do we need? What kind of food do you need? What kind of clothing do you need? School supplies for the children, clothing for their children, food for their fur babies, right? The animals.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that is part of the family. And once again, even if people say, well, what is it? It's them, it's in their heads. They're concerned. So if I take that concern away from them, if we take that concern away from them, that they don't have to worry about feeding their cat or their dog or their dogs. I had one person that had like 4 dogs. I was like, oh boy, that's a lot. But the idea is they were so worried about that. Once we took that burden off of them, plus some other stuff, they relaxed and now they could heal.
Exactly. And that's why I was going to say it's all about that, because take away that stress and the person can take a breath, concentrate on their healing, and come back even stronger than before. Folks, if you're just joining us, we're talking to Louis Cazzetta. He is the founder of Primum Non Nocere Foundation. We got to take a quick break. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam and Louis Cazzetta with the foundation. Close enough. Before we took our break, we were talking about your foundation and what you do for our paramedics and our EMTs. I just want to clarify a lot of things, and I want to put a lot of assumptions from some of our listening audience to bed. Everybody thinks civil servants, paramedics, firefighters, police officers, if they get hurt, they get money, they get help from the departments. When someone gets killed in the line of duty, it takes months, sometimes a year, for that family to receive a settlement claim or a compensation claim for their injuries. So they go months and months and months without the money, with 50% of their paycheck, trying to live their life. And where Louis and his team come in is they help you over that hump. They get you to the point where you can now heal and not worry. And that's the main aspect in this, because so many people, if you're battling an injury and you're worried about losing your house, or the lights going out, or the dog's not eating, or kids not having the school supplies, that's worrisome on your body. It delays the healing process. So what Louis's team does is takes that stress away and lets you focus on the healing plan. So Louis, continue, man. This is an amazing organization.
And it's exactly what you said, because And I'm gonna say, like I said at the beginning, the emergency medical services is still the third or fourth in line of everybody, maybe even less.
Why
Okay.
do you think that is? Because you guys were on the forefront during that time. I don't want to say the name, but 4 years ago when the thing came over and everybody was we had a higher death toll, because I don't want to get us pulled down off of social. EMS, the EMTs were the first ones to show up at the scene on some of them, and we were hearing stories. Just so why do you think you guys were put on the back burners when you were the leaders during the last thing that started 4 years ago,
Well,
especially in New York?
oh, yeah. Well, that was one thing, and that was a tremendous physical and mental trauma. It was a total
Yeah.
assault on the physical and mental of each and every individual that was involved with that. And of course, the New York City was a totally separate entity, because it should be a separate entity in itself, just because it's New York City, just the volume and sheer a mass of people and stuff. But across the country, okay, so I started my first full-time EMS gig back in 1990-ish, right? 1991, 92. And I was making roughly about $14 an hour.
Wow.
2024, those same systems in that New York City, they only make roughly about $18 an hour.
Yep.
We got minimum wage and fast food workers making more than that. So
Exactly.
why are
Really?
they not affected by
Why are they
when
not
the
civil
government
servants?
says
Why are they not considered civil servants? Why are they not considered part of fire departments? Why are they the Bureau of EMS in certain places? Why are they throughout the country average minimum wage for a EMT or a paramedic $14 an hour? Doing the same.
sounds like that doesn't make a
So,
lot of sense.
nope. And then what happens is, I hate to say this, but when something goes wrong, they get hurt, they get sick on the job, off the job, especially off the job. If something happens, God forbid, cancer or some other medical issue, they're on clock's ticking. Clock's ticking. And within a little bit of time, that job that they had that was so great and wonderful, and they worked 60 hours a week towards, because they had to, because they needed to make up the time, or because they weren't making the money, so they had to do the overtime, and the supervisors are begging them, because you got to run the trucks, and the trucks got to run, and the city needs the towns and the cities and need the EMS, because remember, we need that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
When the police need medical, who do they call? They call EMS. When the fire department needs medical, who do they call? And it just keeps on going like that. But once you get to a certain point and that clock ticks down and you're injured for a long time or something, I'm sorry, but you're off the roster. Poof, gone. Done.
So that means off the roster means your
Insurance,
position
life,
has been terminated.
everything's terminated. Your insurance is terminated. You're done. And then everybody's scrambling with workers' comp, and the world of workers' comp and disability. I pray that no one has to ever go through that, which I know is not going to happen. But the stories that I've heard, and I've spoken with people, and we've talked hours on the phone with, the paperwork and the red tape and who they need to speak to, and the doctors and the multiple doctors and and well, they said maybe next month, maybe next month we'll see you. Like John was saying, that's 30 days. That's 30 days without a paycheck.
Bills don't wait. Bills don't wait. The gas company,
Exactly. Nothing is waiting for them. And that's and this is from agencies all across the country. At this moment, we have assisted over 107 emergency medical providers and their families
God bless.
in
Yeah,
over
God bless you.
13 different states. And we've actually given them, and we've worked with them for and through the donations we received, have been able to supply them over $61,000 in the last since 2016.
That's fantastic. You know, when we come back from our next break, I want to kind of walk people through the process of, hey, I'm an EMS professional. I got injured. Somebody told me about you guys, and we'll go from there. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam and Louis Cazzetta.
There you go.
With New York's with the EMS Bureau since 1987, who has really put together an organization that helps our membership. You know, when you ask Sam, before, when you asked why EMS is always put on the low end of the totem pole, and there is no rhyme or reason for it, but I think.
Oh, I think we lost John there, partner. We lost you mid sentence. Okay, you're back. Yeah, we got you. So, your screen's frozen.
Oh, it's still frozen?
Yeah, but that's okay. We can still hear you.
You can still hear me. Yeah, as long as I didn't freeze in a weird.
No,
weird
it actually froze in a good spot. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you, internet.
So, you know, the totem pole on that is New York City. You know, back in the day, it used to be scoop and run. You know, so back in the late 50s, 60s, 70s, ambulance drivers, that's what they would call them, ambulance drivers. And they would have either a nurse.
Oh, we lost John again. Yeah. So Louis, if you wanna pick up, because you and John speak the same language, being from New York, starting your careers the same way in New York, the scoop and run.
Yep. And the good news is I'm out of New York now. I'm in North Carolina now. So it's interesting. The scoop and run, the whole idea was, when it first started, basically, the idea was just getting someone out there to somebody and getting them to the hospital.
Okay. So that's the scoop and
running. And it used to start. I mean, they started with the most basic of ambulance personnel, and then it evolved over the years. And actually, compared to the fire department and police department, organized EMS is a baby. Basically, 1970.
Okay.
It really started to become organized and become a certification.
Got it. Okay.
And here's where it really gets really wacky. So once again, going back to what you said, now I've been an instructor now for over 25 years myself. I'm an emergency medical technician instructor, lead instructor, senior instructor. I was regional faculty for American Heart Association, been involved in all of that. And it's very interesting. On EMTs and paramedics, we must recertify every 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We must take continuing education credits. We have to continue. We have to make sure all of our ACLS and BLS and all these certifications are up to date all the time.
Yeah.
And we still are the least paid and maybe at least paid per se per hour,
Mhm.
But in all reality, like he was saying, we don't have the strongest unions, we don't have the strongest support, and we don't have that backing. We had each other. We
Yeah.
have each other, and even in time, that's it's strong, but it's fraying because of these issues. A lot of people are using EMS as a stepping stone to go to the
Oh,
comments and stuff. So they don't take it as seriously as some of the dinosaurs like myself and some others that we did it as almost a career.
yeah, yeah. And that's a whole another conversation, is if you've done a career in EMS, the things that you've seen and experienced, that's a lot. And if somebody is injured on the job, and let's say I was like, hey, I know this great organization, go to the website pnnf.net, and what do you do once they get in touch with you? Let's walk through that so folks can understand.
Yep, this thank you. So we are working on the idea of we have an application. I call it's cute. It's about 2 pages. Basically, a lot of didactic information, real like what's your name, address, phone number,
Mm.
reasons, and stuff. I have to beef that up a little bit, but for the most part, they send us an email.
Okay.
Send us an email. 90, probably almost 95% of everybody we've helped has been word of mouth or recommendation from someone else. I like to call them our stars of life. Our stars of life. They're out there. They're out there and they're keeping their eyes open. They're looking around. They're seeing other people and they say, hey, they did exactly what you just said. They would say, we have somebody that might be able to help you.
Yeah.
So if they go to the website, there's an information page. They just type in their information, and I will personally get back to them within probably less than 24 hours. And it really is at that point, I need a conversation, find out
Mhm.
exactly what's going on. And I have to tell you, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear all sorts of professionals. Some of them were very close. Some of them are friends of mine. And they actually said, Louis, I had nowhere else to turn. Please don't tell anybody else. And I think that's going to go more to what you work with, Sam, the mental stigma. Because I was
Mhm.
seeing your podcast in the past and everything. The idea of, asking for help.
Yeah.
Police and fire, oh my God, they are, you are stubborn and everything else and strong. And well, EMS were worse because we've been out there by ourselves all this time. Trying to get an EMS provider to actually say, I need a little assistance, I think is harder than anything else. And many times I'll speak with somebody and they'll turn around and say, no, it's okay. I'll be okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the bank is calling.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, can I tell a couple of stories?
Absolutely. Please.
So
Yeah,
we had
we need to understand.
one of our first ones, and this is back in 2016. I actually have some written, and I'll never forget. I received this phone call. He's a friend. Not going to mention his name right now. He's now residing back in Florida. He's doing very well, but right at that point, he was at the lowest end. And he called me. He said, "Louis, I don't know what to do. I just sold my car so I could buy food."
Oh my. Okay. Wow.
He was injured on the job. Okay, we're not going to mention, in a large city agency, and everything. He had surgery and rods in his back and everything, and he couldn't work anymore. But the workers' comp was basically saying, "No, you're okay." And it was this whole big thing going back and forth, and in the middle was, all right, well, you have to go to another doctor and get seen. But in the meantime, he was off payroll.
Mm.
It's already been a year. It's already been a certain amount of time. The long-term terms of disability disappeared. All this stuff. So, So we actually sent him a whole bunch, and the gentleman was to add to this was Jewish,
Okay.
so he only could eat kosher food.
Ah,
So I
special.
had to find a certain place that actually would work with me, and I made some phone calls, and I knew some people. We made a phone call, and we got him delivered over $400 worth of food for him and his kosher food for him and his family, and him on the phone and the tears of joy, because once again, it was his whole purpose was, I need to feed my family. I don't care about me. So
Yeah.
once we were able to do that, he was able to start working on himself.
So just so we have we're clear here, is that he was injured on the job. So workman's comp kicks in, he ends up having surgery. But in the EMS world, you can still be put off the, what did you call it? Off the.
Well, not to get into the logistics and the legality and everything. He was he was making a little bit of money, but nowhere near.
To be able to, yeah, if he's selling his car to feed his family, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. So you guys came in, you filled the gap incredibly. We're going to continue with this story when we come back from our next break. Stay tuned, everybody. I'm leaving people hanging a little bit with suspense. We'll be right back.
To the Health Engineer Show, I'm Cliff Buckley, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat.
Hi, I'm Larry Cortez.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat.
Hi, this is Doreen Milano. Welcome to Big Ideas Small Business, where we will talk to Carrie Arjala.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast powered by the OBBM network. If you're just joining us, you've missed a very eye-opening conversation with Louis Cazzetta. He is the founder of the Primum Non Nocere Foundation, or PNNF.net is how you can find out more about them. And John is having some technical issues, so he's going to try and come back. But, you were telling just a heartbreaking story, because when we think about our first responders out there and we think about the incredible job that our EMS professionals do every single day serving our communities, we don't think about them being in a position to have to sell their car to feed their family. And that's where you guys come in, and you were able to raise the money, go out. We had a special diet, kept kosher, put food on the table, put food in the fridge, allow them to have food in the freezer as well. And God bless you for that. And, we have a friend, Randy Sutton, that runs the Wounded Blue, and he has told similar stories about the police officers being injured catastrophically. And it's like, what do you mean the department and the money's not there, and the same kind of thing, and having to, take care of mortgages and help them out so that they can have the relief in order to heal. Tell us, Louis, what happened ultimately with him?
Well, I mean, and you hit it right on the head. It's not only the only difference between EMS and everyone else is that we just have less resources. But still, when you get to that point, and people don't realize that even though you could work in a great agency, or whatever it is, there's a certain point where everybody just goes, eh. And I don't think people are ready to hear that unless you actually know somebody. Everybody just thinks that, well, they're taken care of. There are many parts where they're not. Yes, the person did end up with disability. Yes, the person did end up doing very well, but it was months.
Yeah, and disability doesn't pay. I mean, you need to go into another career. And what do what happened with him ultimately?
He finally moved out. He went to Florida, him and his family. he's doing okay. But you know, I mean, he could never work that job or that type of job again. They're doing much better now, and he was able to gain the idea of disability and having some monthly income come from the job, because he did get hurt on the job.
Right.
See, that's another thing too. He didn't go skiing.
Right.
He didn't shatter his vertebrae by
Right.
doing.
He was serving this
He was
community.
Exactly. And I have one of the newer one. This is really important, because this is what really this recently we helped a young lady. Okay, she was injured. She injured her shoulder. Okay, and while she was out, her husband was also a paramedic as well. He went for a routine exam and found out that he was stage 4
Oh my.
I forget, it was pancreatic or a devastating cancer.
Wow.
So now she's not able to work. He's not able to work. He's now under all sorts of chemo treatments and all this. And they have children, and they have a family, and they're young, and they're trying to go through this. So she was able to get a desk job, but it was not nearly enough what she needed. So she ends up working 3 separate jobs with injured shoulders and everything else, because, well, she stepped up because her husband really needed it. So we spoke with her, and I have to say, she was just amazing. The strength that she said, you would never even think about the way she was speaking, that they were having such a bad issue, but you could hear it in their voice that she's, everything's going to be okay, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to come in and assist them with some utility. We paid off some utility bills, sent them a whole bunch of food and stuff to help out. Do you mind if I just read? I actually asked her permission. She said I could read this thank you letter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a reason behind it, and this is going to play into the role of mental as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to Lou and all the angels of PNNF, I wanted to reach out to you and thank you for all the gracious and humbling donations on behalf of my family. This email hardly seems seems close enough for the help you provided me and my family members. We have been struggling for months, and I have emotionally felt like a failure. You have all granted me with so much more than financial assistance and support. You, in turn, have given me a little breathing room to make sleep better and go to bed with a little less worry. I cannot ever repay your kindness, but I hope someday I will be able to return the favor for your non-for-profit foundation, may give some other struggling family the gift you have given to all of us. I humbly thank you for the depths of my heart. Thank you to all. And that was Christine Fleet. Okay.
Wow.
A New Jersey EMT and all. And what really gets me with that is the mission was accomplished with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's nowhere near. They still have a long road ahead.
Right.
But at this very moment, we were able to at least give her some breath, give her some time to give her a couple of weeks of food, and we paid off their propane bill, we paid off their utilities. It came out to about $600.
You know what? It's all about giving her the relief of yes, because you could hear in her words that it was a struggle for her, and it's a self-worth thing. I mean, she's supposed to care. EMS, just like any first responder, we think about serving our communities first, and of course our families. And when you're impacted and you need help in not necessarily an injury, but need help, I'll say in a non-strictly monetary way, with how do I get by as a mom trying to feed my kids and provide for my husband, who also needs this support because he's not well. I just can't thank you enough. And you guys are angels, all of the angels at Primum Non Nocere Foundation. Guys, the website has been up the entire show next to Louis's name, PNNF.net. If you are an EMS professional, Okay, you need to keep this website and Louis's name somewhere handy. Write it down, put it on a post-it note, put it in a journal, save this episode, because he realized a long time ago that something needed to be done. And he took it upon himself. He brought together an amazing group of individuals, and you can see their pictures on your website. And so thank you to you. Thank you to them. It's something that, you know, when you see somebody suffering like you guys have, and you're able to just alleviate just a little bit so they can just breathe, have that room. It sometimes goes further than you'll ever know. And certainly we wish everybody who you guys have helped nothing but the best, their families on their road to healing and making it back, because you know you enter the job because from here it's your heart, right? And if you can't get back to it, that's a big hole, and you guys help to fill that hole just a little bit. And we thank you for coming on. John is texting me. Thank you so much for coming on. He's he had the technical issues. His internet went out. But it's great that you and he could share those stories from New York. And anything, again, guys, if you're listening, you're an EMS professional, PNNF.net. Keep it handy. Louis, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing the stories, sharing what you do and how you do it. It's a roadmap to success and a roadmap to health. And we certainly will be in touch. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And thank you for everything you've done. John, wherever you are, I'd like to see you next time again. Maybe another time.
For sure. You guys can definitely connect. All right. Well, take care, Louis.
Bye-bye now.
Be in touch. Wow, this was fantastic. Again, we lost John with the internet woes that he's having over in his neck of the woods. Hey, you know, this was a fantastic episode, and all of the amazing work that they're doing over at Primum Non Nocere Foundation, PNNF.net. You know, it is vitally important that we have folks like Louis and those that have come before that are still doing a job, and maybe some of them are retired, to realize, hey, I can still make a difference for those that are still on the job that may get hurt, whether it's offering peer support, a shoulder to cry on, a hug, or what PNNF does with their amazing work. Please, you know, choose to be a mentor out there. And, you know, we've got a couple of things going on in what we do at A Badge of Honor, which includes serving our EMS professionals. We've got an upcoming family workshop. So this is for all first responders and their family members. We're doing it on a Saturday so that the family members can come rather than trying to wrestle with the 9 to 5s. Any child 13 years and up, you can go to our website and register for that workshop, which is coming up this coming Saturday. Actually, we got to thank a huge shout out to the city of Rowlett and the Rowlett Fire Department for allowing us to use their facilities for our family workshop. So go ahead and check that out on abadgeofhonor.org. And, you know, I got to spend the weekend with a very special person named Gary O'Neill, and it's O'Neal. He is a special forces, long retired now, has served in Vietnam, served our country for 43 years in total. And he's seen some stuff, and he explained how he dealt with it, and he really took it upon himself to gain the knowledge and understand how your emotions get connected to the trauma that you see and break it down. So if you're looking to understand how to do that, register for the family workshop. Bring your spouse and your kids so that they can understand what goes on as well. After that, we have got a fundraiser coming up in April, Friday, April 5th. You've heard John say laughter saves lives. It certainly does. We've got a very awesome lineup of professional comedians coming to Texas, the Harbor in Rockwall. It's only $25. You get to spend an evening with these folks. Laughter does save lives. Give yourselves a break. Come on out. You can find out more about that by going to our website. You can purchase tickets there as well. And every week, you guys see Carry the Load right here. We are so blessed to be nonprofit partners with Carry the Load. They're at carrytheload.org. If you don't know about them, we and them and this entire team of nonprofit partners, we are bringing back the true meaning of Memorial Day. You will see our fundraiser specifically for Carry the Load coming up here soon. So be on the lookout. They're on our homepage as well. Thank you to all of our first responders out there who are serving our communities without asking for a thank you. We do it from our hearts. That is who we are deep down. And you've heard John say we're cut from a different cloth. We truly are, because not everybody can do this job. So thank you so much. We are praying for you every single day, for our veterans. Thank you for fighting the fight like you, Gary O'Neill, out there to allow us to do a show like this every week. And to all the active duty personnel across the globe, thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. And as John would always say, if you could be anything in this world, be kind. And we will see you next week, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBN Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBN Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495.